Well, about time to jump in the old time machine. You probably didn't know it. Ford built one. We're going to go ahead and get on in it. We're going to take you back in time. Well, yeah, that's looking different. Something's missing. It's been there quite some time. Well, it was there since 2016. But finally, our old friend had to leave us today. And now she's gone. Yeah. There's Fluffy Muffin. He knows an old friend has left us. Right, Fluffy? And now, Alice has taken its place. We still got to clean up the driveway area. And of course, Alice needs a little spiffying up too. Whew, it's been a long day. And a hot one. But that opens up the driveway and gives us a whole lot more room. And a whole different look here on the property. We'll get the driveway cleaned up and everything here this fall when it's a lot cooler than what it is now. Hey Fluffy, you and Spooky and maybe Cleo, you want to come up here and sit with Papa up on the front porch? What, Spooky? Is that your buddy Fluffy? Yep, Fluffy, you're just so lovable, aren't you? Come on, Papa's tired. Whew. Got up to 97 today. Let's have a seat, okay? Come on, guys. Yep, Fluffy's found his place. Yeah, we'll get some treats in a bit. Let Papa sit down. Ooh, guys, it's stifling out here. I'm not gonna be out here long. I about had it today. Oh, well, there you are, friends and family. And hey, as you can see, today was a special day. And we had to say goodbye to an old friend. And for those of you who haven't been on the channel very long, you probably won't remember what I'm talking about. And for many, you may not understand. But yeah, today was the day that the focus, our dear old friend, went away. And it was a friend. I bought that car, bought it used, back in the fall 2016. It was a 2013 Ford Focus SE, 4-door. Had a couple of scratches and dings, a little crack in the windshield, but other than that, it was immaculate. We paid $5,800 out the door, where a brand new one at the time was anywhere from $23,000 up to $29,000, and it only had 38,000 miles. And we drove that Focus for the last 2 years I worked. And then, as many of you know who've been here in Mr. Tom's neighborhood, we went on all kinds of adventures, shopping trips, you know, Superfoods, Walmart, CarMax, Piggly Wiggly. Oh, we went down to where Hernando de Soto and his soldiers, conquistadors, rode down, right down the Tallapoosa River. Back in the 1500s. Could you believe that? It took us over to Tuskegee Airfield, where the famous Tuskegee Airmen went to flight school and trained, to Sharps Field, where they would learn to fly fighters and bombers too, before they were sent over to fight in World War II. Oh yeah. We went down back roads, both paved and dirt, so far back in places that no one had been in quite some time. And of course, didn't live there. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of good times with my kids, my grandkids. Oh, my son was still living here. Me and him would go shopping, go to the malls, the movies, go out to eat. And when my daughter and grandson would come down, we'd all pile in. And of course go out to eat, go to the movies, and shopping as well during the holidays. So yeah, between my children, my grandchildren, and all of you, we had a lot of good times with our old friend. And hey, as many of you know who've been here quite some time, the Focus had a very special equipment. It could go back in time. Remember that? Yep, the old gravel flux generator took us back to many a places that we would have never been. But little did we know there were chronic problems with it. And that was mainly its transmission control module and its transmission. But for me, it was a great car up until it wasn't. And yeah, we worked on it there towards the end consistently because I wouldn't give up. But finally even I had to understand there wasn't no use. In fact, it was so no use and was so chronic of a problem, not only with my Focus, but everyone built, that a massive class action lawsuit was filed against Ford. And of course it was litigated through arbitration. That's how they do things now. And a settlement was made. At first they extended the warranties to 100,000 miles. Well, by the time that Focus, mine, our dear old friend, started having transmission problems, it had well over 100,000 miles. So there was no help there. But then, when the settlement was finally all tied up with a big bright bow, it was two other options. Ford would continue to repair it for a period of time, which they did. And the other option, final option, was Ford would buy them back. Well, here again, by the time the Focus wouldn't go no more, the time limit for all of that and the settlement had run out. Yep, missed it by 3 to 4 months. So I was stuck. And you might wonder, well, why not fix it up if I loved it so much? Well, my days of pulling transmissions, rebuilding them, putting them back in, are over. Now, I worked on my own cars. Everything for most of my life. Oh, I pulled transmissions. I put them back in. I've done all my own brakes. I've rebuilt engines. You name it, I've done it. But that boat sailed for me some time ago. Just don't got the strength that I once had. And that's something we should understand. Automotive work takes some strength. Yes, it does. Even with all the technology that's changed. The parts are big. The units are big. Yeah, without the proper equipment, it ain't like back in the day when we all used to do it under the shade trees. So that was out of the question. And then when I looked into getting it repaired and the cost, now I paid $5,800 for it. I'd had it over 6 years. I'd put well over 100,000 miles on it and look forward to many more, but that would never be. But the total cost was somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000. And as you can see, it was more than I paid for the car initially. So, there it sat. And we went and got Alice. And we did have to drive Blackie without air conditioning. And Blackie's that black S10 with a black interior. In the year 2023, when the Focus finally wouldn't go no more, in fact, I backed it up to where y'all have seen it the last 2 years in the driveway. And that would be the last time it ever moved. no matter what I did. It'd start up, the air would run, everything else would work, but it'd never move no more. So we went out, after about 3 to 4 months of looking, and found Alice. And what, we gave 42 or so for Alice? And over the last 2 years plus, she's been a fine car and become a close friend too. And I don't think everybody understands out there, especially those who live in cities, which now over 50% do, how close you become to your vehicle, especially out here in the rest of America. There's no public transportation, there's no buses, there's no trains, none of that. No. We depend solely for everything on our vehicles, our cars and our trucks, our vans or what have you, to get the things we need to live each day, to go to the doctors, to pick up our prescriptions, to take our children back and forth to school. There's not one aspect of our lives out here in rural America that's not touched by our vehicles. Yeah, and many times they have saved our day and our lives too. You know, just like that day I needed to drive myself to the hospital. If I'd waited on the ambulance, which would have never came, because it was out on another run, I would have died. Yep, surely would have. So thankfully, I had a vehicle, and I could drive. Albeit, I did pass out as soon as I got in the ER. But it got me there. So yeah, we do become close with our vehicles out here, and we depend on them for things in every aspect of our life. And we spend a lot of good times in them with our family and our friends and with all of you too. Yeah, just look back. All the rides we've took, all of Alabama that you would have never saw if you wouldn't have come riding with old Mr. Tom. So yeah, my heart's a little heavy today. In a way, I'm glad she's gone. Freed up the driveway, and I can get her all cleaned up. Makes more room for Alice. Yep, and for people who stop by. You know, like my son and my daughter, and my grandson. And I'm sure the delivery drivers will appreciate being able to pull more in off the road. But I'll miss her. Now, Alice can take us back in time too. She's a little jittery. She gets a little scared. But I'm thinking she'll do just fine. But yep, it was so hot today. Yeah, and it didn't go my way. You know, I'd hoped to get a little bit of money from Alice, from Ford. I wound up getting zero. And then I thought about, they have see all these advertisements that buy junk cars? Well, I looked into all of them too. Of course, you wouldn't get much, but would have to keep me from paying to have it hauled off. But none of those were available around here. Yeah, just my luck. But today, a young man came by, one I've dealt with before. And he's bought some used cars off me in the past. And he was inquiring about Blackie, and we talked about it. I actually gave him a price. And he said he's coming back. But he was telling me he was looking for something for his son, because his son turns 15 here in a bit. And I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you'll take it away, I'll give you that Ford Focus. And you can have it for free. And he was overjoyed. You see, he's young, he's big and strong, and that's what he does. He's a mechanic. He works on cars, and he's pretty damn good at it, I might say. And I can say, because I'm quite experienced in it too. So, he came back later that evening. Of course, I had to get out there and clean it all out, make sure all my personal items were gone. And I carry a lot of stuff around in the car. Jumper cables, air compressor, car vacuum, just to name a few. Slime, fix flat, tire repair kit. Yeah, I had the stuff, so I had to get all that out. And of course, my cup holders were full of change. Had to get that out. And get out any, paperwork and such. And it was brutal out there. 97-degree heat. Yeah. But he said he'd be back at 7. But he got back early. And I had it all ready. Plus I needed to charge the battery so we could crank it up. And the engine fired right up. So we could use the power steering to load it on the trailer. And once he got here, and that, between me and him, it didn't take long. And the Focus was heading down the highway. Hopefully for not the last time. But I do know this, like he's done before. If he gets to running, he'll come back and show me. Or at least he'll drop back in and tell me what happened to my dear old friend. Well, as you can say, or hear, the cicadas have fired on up. And I got to go in and get my kid to crew some treats. And I still haven't ate this evening. So I need to fire up some. And I'll tell you what, I'm moist and I'm tired. And it's been a long day. But I'm glad you could stop by and spend a few minutes to me. And maybe you go back and watch a few of those episodes where we all went in the Focus to all those places and the things we've seen and the things we enjoyed as a family here in my neighborhood. So hey, till the kitty crew, Cleo, Spooky, Fluffy Muffin, and the little princess of the house. See you on that next episode of Mr. Tom's Neighborhood. Y'all take care. Stay safe out there. May God bless you all as you bless those in your lives. Goodbye for now. We love you for stopping by. Well, Fluffy, Spooky, where's Cleo? Y'all need to go find Cleo, and I'll go in and get some treats. And then Papa's got to fix some grub. And then take a shower and hit the sack. I'm all wore out. Yeah. Y'all listen to the cicadas sing, okay? I'll be back, Fluffy. Never fear. Whew. It's still toasty out here. Later all.